Hey guys, this is Danielle, and this is my assignment that I've been doing. So I was trying to figure out how to incorporate background into my artwork, as suggested by a few from last week. So what I did was I took a piece of art, this is the spray paint that you guys saw, and what I did was I turned it around. And when looking at that, I was starting to see shapes of mountains. So what I did was I took Kathy's suggestion and I used acetone and I started drawing the images that I saw. So each of these approximately took about, I want to say 20-30 minutes. Sometimes they took about 10 additional minutes, so total of 30 and 40 minutes each, due to the idea of placement on the picture and then drawing the actual picture. So each of these is about 30-40 minutes, except that one took less. So I'd say 10 for that. So I'd say approximately, I don't know, 3.5 hours so far. Now sometimes they don't look like much at the moment, because I guess it kind of incorporates all with the entire picture. I don't know why I just flipped my phone. That's going to look sideways to you guys. And that was the last one. So these two, if you notice, they kind of have a random lines in the back, which was actually the next step of the process. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to attach all the pieces to the actual picture, and so you can get an overview of what I'm looking at. So here's the piece. I'm going to take the paper off of the plastic. I'm going to tape them all. Doing this with one hand is awesome. Okay. Hey, it's stuck. So checking the placement from the shape that I saw. Just gonna tape it to the side. Now when I originally did these drawings, I did not use tape. I did them separately from each other. So yay, one-handed abilities, woohoo! On another note, I completely forgot that we were videotaping these, so hence another reason why these are done ahead of time. Now this one that I did, it did have some color in it. And I had begun playing with the idea of using color in addition to the color that was already in the background, because after a while the lines were starting to get a little interconnected. So now let's see, where did I put this one? I also began using little, if you look at this one, it has a little like arrow at the bottom of it. What I was doing was, at this point, I had started to actually connect the pieces together. So by using the shape in the painting, as well as the shape of the actual colors that you see in the background, I was kind of using cues to do this. I don't think I have anything over here at the moment. I really should pay attention where I'm videotaping too. I can also tell you that I don't do this fairly often. I have no idea where I put that. Oh, social cue. Social cue. I can't use words today. I apologize for that too. Crud. So, as you can see so far, a picture is actually starting to develop. I wasn't sure what else to use besides Sharpie, but I actually kind of like the look so far. Everyone's open to their interpretation, of course. Oh, I did do that. Crap. Sorry, I'm babbling to myself. And I'm not putting the thing where I should. So normally, as you guys know, I usually use about a couple paintings at a time. This time I decided to stick to one painting but do mini pieces inside of it. So, and this one was a little more complicated. At this point, when I started attaching this larger piece, what I was focusing on was actually tying everything else in. So as you can see right now, I had begun to tape the things together and I had realized that there was a lot of empty space. So my next intention and my current state is that I'm trying to tie in all of the pieces together so they're not floating, but at the same time begin to use color from the Sharpies as well as utilize the color in the background to create a more connected landscape. So once again, using my little cues, which that little notch right there actually kind of looks like a dude, was part of the tree again. Or beside the tree at least. If you already haven't taken your video now, I would strongly suggest have someone else take your photo. Doing this with a knee and one hand is not fun. Alright, and then we have one more piece, which I knew went over in the corner, but it connected to the water. Oh yeah, if you haven't noticed, my floor is completely a mess from all the ink. I have yet to have the time to clean this all up. Alright, so besides all the tape, you can start seeing a, sorry, I can't use my words right now. You can start seeing a landscape starting to form using mountains and trees. So yeah, I probably should have pre-scripted this. So I'm gonna sit down, and while I'm sitting down I'm just gonna show you some of the details. Like for originally when I started this, I really didn't like how these pieces were coming out, because to me in the original design they just looked like a bunch of lines. It wasn't until after I actually stepped away from them and came back to them after a while that they started to form into a shape that I actually noticed. So, like I said, these lines and these lines right here are starting to connect the picture together. I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to put this piece together, but like if I'm going to actually just place the acetone on top of each other, or I'm going to cut the specific images out and use decoupage or something. So, for example, if you've noticed right here, when they're all crossing, they start forming this, they start overlapping and you can see it. So I've been thinking about possibly cutting them out. If anyone has any suggestions on how to deal with that, just let me know. So what I'm going to do next is actually start coloring some of these pieces in. So like I said before, when I first started looking at these things, I noticed a lot of lines. I wasn't actually seeing as much shapes as I actually, not shapes, but you know what I mean. So originally I had started right with the brown of this piece, the first piece down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue onto this part and just continue coloring it with some Sharpie just to add some color. I've also noticed that this is a terrible source of lighting. Actually, I'm on a completely different one than I originally intended to. So, but mistakes happen. So, that's actually, I'm not sure what part that is. Well, I'll figure out if I like it later or not. And then I'll just take it off. And I'll just copy it later. So, I've been using a lot of cross-hatching with these Sharpies. So, been also thinking about utilizing by blending some colors, but I haven't entirely decided what I wanted to do. So I'm just testing out by using the Sharpies and the actual background color and see what actually happens. So for example, this one right here is actually blending with the brown automatically. So the brown and the black are actually mixing. So what I've noticed with all the blank shapes, so like this line right here, and this line, I haven't actually figured out how I'm going to connect the pieces. When I originally looked at this piece, the actual background, there was a really light color right here. So I was thinking of fog, and just kind of leaving it blank. But what I've noticed with Sharpies is that the image is actually so dark now with the actual pictures that I'm not sure that will come across as an actual a fog-like appearance right here. Instead, I think it's just going to look like a very empty space, so I have to check it out. So, yeah, sounds like a lot of fun. Yay! And I realized that that was not where I wanted it out to be. Whoops. So I'm going to spend the next hour or so trying to figure out how I'm going to use these colors without the camera, but I will start up a new camera angle, I guess, when I stop this one. Stop this one meaning stop the process of actually coloring everything in. So, but to be honest, I'm not very fond about using the camera as a form of documenting myself. It just feels really weird. I'm talking to myself, and you're all gonna hear me, and you're probably gonna laugh at me for sounding so weird. So yeah, so like I said, what I'm doing right now is I'm beginning to color in everything. So yeah, so logging off.